Hey, Dan here from Watchmaker Appliance Repairs. In this video I'm going to quickly show you the best way to make a brazier out of a washing machine. We are approaching the end of summer, as you can tell by the substandard lighting, but these really great easy thing to make for having your evenings outside. Obviously make sure you've got the right fire permits, not enough total fire restriction or something like that. I've found usually with a brazier you're actually allowed to run have a fire in New Zealand in conditions that you wouldn't otherwise because it's nice and contained, but you can check that online. And I quite like making a brazier out of these washing machine drums because they don't drop ash out like a lot of the ones you can buy from Bunnings or Mitre 10 do. And so it's, just doesn't let as much heat out, but it's plenty of airflow through it. Now we're specifically going to be looking at how to make one out of a Bosch washing machine. And the reason why we specifically want a Bosch is a couple-fold. Firstly, you have a look at this pulley here. And I'll show you when we get it out. The pulley's actually got a square, almost square keyhole in it. So we literally just take the pulley off, turn it 180 degrees, put it on, put the bolt back through, and we have a base. Some of the other washing machines have a countersunk bolt on it, so it can't turn around, all different shapes. So these are really good. Also, the inside baffles are made of metal, so they're not going to melt away when you're burning it or leave bigger gaps or anything like that. Now this one is brand new, so it's really shiny. They do discolour, they darken with heat, and I don't know how long they would actually last for, but even just being left outside in the rain and being used, they seem to hold up pretty well. But it's not going to stay shiny like that the whole time. Now, this washing machine here has already had some stuff stolen out of it, but I'm going to quickly talk through what you need to get the bits out, even the bits that we've already got missing. So the tools you need depend on exactly how violent you're going to be. First off, you're going to need a T20 screwdriver. There's 2 screws at the back. Spin this around a little bit. So we're looking for one with the pulley that looks like this. And also, before you start actually, when you're picking out a washing machine, you want it to be a Bosch, but you want to make sure the drum, if I come down here and grip this drum, I'll link to another video I've made on it. You don't want this drum here to be flexing around too much, because what happens is the spider at the back, which is this 3-legged thing here, this can crack sometimes. Now sometimes the bearings can collapse, the whole drum can jiggle around in there, but if this breaks, then you'll be able to move the drum on the shaft will sit still and it'll move, and then it's not going to be stable for using as a brazier. So you don't want one which has had the spider collapse. The easiest way to do it is just to put your thumbs on the plastic outer bowl and just pull on the inner bowl, and it shouldn't move at all. So this one's still good. 2 T20 screws gets the top off. We've got the lid taken, the door taken off this. Stop that. The door taken off this one, you don't have to do that. When you've got the front panel on, there's a tiny screw on this side which is T10, which is very small and you probably haven't got. You can, if you just literally get a crowbar and you smash it away, you're going to have 2 screws in the dispenser here, T20. Take them off. And then the whole control panel pops off and you can just cut the wires, get rid of that. There's then another torque screw there, and we're going to have 2 at the very bottom here. So it's 1, 2, 3 screws. And then to get this door seal off, even you can just leave the door on. If you feel around, usually somewhere down here there's a spring on the metal wire, so we're just going to get onto that spring, pull it outwards, pop it off like that, and then this just lifts off there. And then, if I've got it right, something drops off. Unhook the harness from the door lock. Now what happens is there's these little wee teardrop clips here which go into these holes here, so the clips in and lifts up. So once you've done those screws you can just drop it out and bring it down. You can also take the door lock off just by pushing in these 2 little nubs while pushing the door lock towards the centre. and then it pops out like that. So it goes in and then clips off. I love working on Bosch. They come apart so easy. Right, so we've also got a couple of concrete blocks here and hoses. Now this one's already had the pump taken out. But we've got all the wiring going to need to disconnect or cut. We've got suspension dampeners we're going to need to disconnect. And then we've got a cross member here and cross member here. Everything's held on with T20 screws. And then I don't know if the motor's been taken off this one. You can leave the motor on, or you can take it off now to reduce your weight. And then also what we've got is this big counterweight here is held on. Basically you've got a metal band that goes around and tightens up, and then also you've got 4 screws that screw in into little wedges to wedge the plastic on. You'll be able to see what's holding on. And then this seal here is held on by a spring, kind of like on how the wire, except it's spring the whole way around. So I find the easiest way to get that off is literally just push down and pop it off. So it's a spring like that, so you just by pushing down you're just going to stretch it off the clip. And if you're taking one of these apart, you're usually going to be scrapping it anyway, so you can just be pretty violent with it. I'm going to zip through and take everything off. We'll probably fast forward this bit later on. So the 13mm socket under the 2 lower bolts on the suspension dampeners. There's also 2 10mm bolts holding the motor on. That's already been removed in this case. I'm removing this counterweight just to make it lighter to pull out. .8mm bolt on that securing strap. .13mm bolt on the top here again, counterweight. Pressure tube I need to unplug. Now I should be ready to come out. Obviously if we were repairing this, it would be a whole lot more gentle. So if you do get us to repair your appliance, don't worry, that's not how we do it. Right, so now we can take this rear pulley off. Once more 13mm. So if you ever look on the pulley here, you'll be able to see straight through it. It is slightly concave, so when we turn it over we will need to use a hammer to put it on, but it's the best one I've found so far. Now we need to split this drum in half. The official way you do that is these screws holding the 2 halves together, front and back. There's several screws and there's all these clips. So what usually I found it's impossible to get these clips off by coming in underneath, so usually what I do, so this drum is held in with screws, some of them, not all the holes are screws, and some don't have any screws at all, and these plastic clips. So I've usually get a chisel and just chisel these clips off. If we're doing like bearings or something like that, we'd chisel the clips off and then replace all the screws instead of just using some of them, because you can't actually get in behind and prise it off. That is too tight a fit. However, how I do it to make these braziers a bit quicker, because we don't need this plastic drum or anything, is if we get an angle grinder and just cut through the plastic just in from where it is here, it should just melt through it because it's just plastic. I'm just going to remove this element. Right, now hopefully doesn't look like I nipped anything, so nothing just lift out. We take our pulley that was on that way, we put it on this way, and it's not quite what I want to go on, but just like that, we have a brazier. Now I've been careful when I know where to cut and haven't gone too deep, so I haven't nicked anything. Give it a water blast. The one disadvantage of these is they do sit quite low. It would be nice to have it up somewhere like this or this, but hey, if you can't make things, if you're good at destruction, this is the way to go.